Hello. My name is Siro and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I am trying a new series on my channel. I'm trying a new series entitled Baiskeli Safari, and on this occasion I want to talk about my recent ride that we did for Jasper, Wendo, Masumbuko. So rest in peace, who left us about 2 weeks ago in an untimely manner, leaving the cycling fraternity very disturbed. And many of you are following our ride virtually on WhatsApp, on Facebook, and on Twitter, and even on Strava. So I decided I want to talk about our ride and see how best I could actually equip most of you who wanted to know how our ride actually happened. You see, many of you would like to know how it happened. We have been giving you small tips of how it happened, but here I'm coming with the full story. I'm actually bringing everything as it happened, and I'm really hoping that I'll be able to help you paint the picture of how this whole thing happened. So riding 360 kilometers in under 24 hours is not a cheap thing. It's actually one of the hardest things you might want to do, especially bearing in mind there was an elevation of 4,000 plus meters. So as soon as we heard about it and we started planning about the ride, one thing that came into mind is that there was need for preparation, and this preparation, it was not for any Tom, Dick and Harry, no. It was only for the chosen few. The chosen what? The chosen few. The reason I'm telling you the chosen few is because you needed to have been prepared, like you were ready. It's not like okay. No, it wouldn't work for you, even if you had a full carbon, because you needed to be prepared in a lot of ways. First of all, you need to be prepared physically. Like you are told tomorrow we are doing it, you just go do it. Number two, you need to be prepared mentally, like your mind has already done that before, and so your mind will not struggle to actually allow you to do it. Then number three, you need to have a bike that is ready, either yours or the one that you've borrowed. Then number four, you need to have time. If you could get time from your workplace to allow you so that you can actually do the ride, well and good. Then number five, money. If you didn't have money, the best you could do was actually send your funds to critical mass pay bill, and then wish those who are going to represent you well. You cannot all of us be there. So you can see 5 things were really needed: physical preparation, mental preparation. Then you also needed your bike to be prepared, like it is well serviced. Then time needed to be prepared, and then number 5, money. So if you didn't have all those things, you had to watch, ama ungekula tu kwa macho, watch tu kwa view sasa, ama namna gani. So we created a WhatsApp group for people who wanted to ride, and we realized we had a lot of keyboard cyclists, people who are very good at typing, but when it comes to the ground, nothing. Very good at talking. Those are not going to help us. 90 people. You want to tell me 90 people are going to cycle from here to Chavakali under such a short notice? No, that would be chaos. Even we don't want chaos. We just want the chosen few. So we prepared a list, me, Evans, and Ian. We prepared a list, and people wrote their names, those who could actually show up for that ride under such a short notice. And that is after the funeral date had been given, which was on a Saturday. So on a Saturday, and actually it was on 23rd. So we were supposed to cycle either Thursday or Friday. And as things will go, is that we needed to filter out and remain the serious guys. So after we wrote that list, that we wrote something that people could actually write their names. We got some names. From there, we created a smaller WhatsApp group. We added those people, and we even shared for other people whom we were not able to capture to join the group. Then in that group, we were still had like 30 guys. No. 30 people, no. We still have like half of them who are jokers. So we kicked them out. We remained with the people whom we knew were going to ride with us. And out of the 15 people, we came up with 3 groups. But the first categories was, there were people who are willing to cycle in 1 day, and there are people who are willing to cycle in 2 days. So those were 2 groups. But in the group for people who are going to cycle in 1 day, there were people who wanted to cycle with the funeral procession. So they said they want to cycle on Thursday. So we ended up with 3 groups. Group A, B, C. A for red, B for blue, and then C for green. So group red, they left on Thursday at midnight, and we hoped that they would make it by evening to Chavakali or whatever place that they were going to. Group B, who were going to cycle in 2 days, we wanted them to actually sleep at Mount Summit, which they did, and then they will get to the place the next day. Then the third group, they were like the chasers, the man chasers, who were us and others like Sultan. We were cycling on Friday at midnight also. And so we had already plotted on Komoot, and we came with the distance of 360 kilometers, 4,000 meters of elevation, and we had to pass from Nairobi, Nakuru, Kapsabet, and then Chavakali. Very difficult terrain, and we hope that the rain will actually forgive us. Either the rain or hot sun, and we are very lucky. None of them made it hard for us. So came Thursday, and Nelson with his group, Seda and others, they left Baiskeli Center at midnight. Then they started to ride, and we made them to give us live location so we could know how they were progressing. Though at some point, battery low, the live locations disappeared, and we had to keep guessing. But good thing is they made it to Kisumu. They thought Kapsabet was a wall, so they passed in a different route and ended up in Kisumu. Then after that, we started with the second group that was starting at 5 a.m. led by Graph. They were like 10 guys, but only 5 showed up. So the others, they could not make it. We assumed they were not serious. We left them. So working with a smaller group is even easier, and they all made it as we had anticipated, as much as things were tough on the road. Now the third group, which I was the captain, I was with Sultan, with Chalo. We were 3 of us, and we knew we'll manage it. Only for somebody by the name of Dan from Castle Cycling Fraternity to call me on Thursday and tell me he wants to join us. I said, okay, fine. You know what you're up against? Yes. You are ready to suffer? Yes. It was there when we were cycling to Sultan's funeral a year ago. No, okay, 2 years ago. Yes. Then coming to my WhatsApp group, Cycling Nairobi, then there's this guy Sabauma, he has said he has to join. I pretended I not seen that text, only for him to show up at midnight with the Dan. Well, and they were showing up with MTBs. Well, okay. He said, okay, fine. And he had some luggage he tied there, the behind of his, at the back of his MTB. Said, okay, fine. That is how you look tired when you see somebody show up with an MTB. But they said, fine. This guy, he has been riding to his home in a border. It's not the first time. But now he's cycling with a team. What did I do? Gave them a head start. Then, okay, by the way, before I forget, there is this lady, Bernice. She's a very nice lady. She wanted to cycle with us, but she couldn't get time. And she decided she will do something. She brought us chapati and mandazis at the moment we were just about to start. So because we had already eaten, we carried them. We will be eating them on the way. If all ladies could be like her, things will be very good for us men, because this is one lady who can go out of her way, not just for one person, but for a group. Other people are very choosy. This one is different. God bless her heart. So after short prayer, we let the MTB guys to leave, and then we followed later. But as fate will have it, I got a puncture at Westlands, fixed it, and prayed to God not to give me another puncture. From there now again, the three of us, the road bike guys, we started to cycle up Wayaki Way. And you see Wayaki Way, it's all climbing. But the real climbs, they do start after Kikuyu. After Kikuyu, it's climbing. Then we got to Kamandura. Kamandura is the junction to Limuru. Not really Limuru, but Maimayo. Only for me to realize I'm struggling. And I'm not struggling because I am unfit. I'm struggling because of the bike. So we stopped, and I actually went to a petrol station nearby to see what was the problem. By the way, a tip here. At night, if you are cycling and you have a problem, don't stop anywhere. Look for a place that is well lit, most probably a petrol station, and then you go there, see what problem you have. It will really save you a lot, and that's what we did. So we found there was a problem around the area for the crank, and my friend Chalo borrowed my Allen key, and he looked at where the problem was. He started to fix it, and we proceeded. By this time again, it was around 1:30 a.m. My friend Sultan here was starting to feel cold because we had stopped. And you see, when you stop and you are already warmed up, the sweat that was coming from your body now becomes your enemy because of the cold. We moved a little bit distance. By this time I was saying, if I find where there is coffee, I'll buy. I didn't go far. Just when you are just passing Ruby's, I realized again the problem is back. So we stopped and we went inside Ruby's, and we looked and we realized the bottom bracket was actually loose. At this point I wanted to go back home, because now with the bottom bracket that is coming loose, how will you fix that? You do not have a spanner, you do not have anything. You are like 40 kilometers away from the city. Okay, I looked at the whole thing and I decided the best thing I could do is go back home. My friend Chalan Sultan said, no, Captain, you're not going back home. We'll try and find a way. We looked for a piece of cloth, we tried to tighten it with the hands, and then we went to the traditional way of tying a bottom bracket. You look for something that looks like a nail and something that looks like a piece of metal, knock it slowly, then it got tight. And we pray to God that it doesn't come off again. Then we made because now you cannot do the bigger chaining, we made it to go with the smaller chaining, and we started to work with it from Ruby's there. But before we could leave, we had to go inside there and buy some coffee. I bought coffee for these guys because now the cold was not our friend again. The cold now was going to mess us up. After taking coffee with a few of those mandazis bunnies had given us, we were back on the road. From here now, we are playing with my speed until after we passed Viewpoint, we passed Kimende, we proceeded like that until flyover. Around some minutes after 4, we stopped to check if the bottom bracket had messed again, and we looked and we saw the bottom bracket was actually doing very well, and it had not messed any one of us. So we decided the best thing you can do is make it to be in the bigger chain ring or jembe. I normally like going with jembe when I go for long rides, so I decided to put it in the bigger chain ring, and we left. Dropping Kinongi, as many might think, Kinongi is not a place you should be happy about, whether you are dropping or you are climbing. It's a tough place. When you are dropping, cold will bite you, and there are crosswinds, and it is very, very, very dark there. So again, as you are dropping, you need to be seeing where you are passing. So dropping up to Naivasha, I decided I need to fix my problem. So I went to Ruby's and I found, first of all, looked for coffee. Another person took tea. We were all shivering. If you would have seen the way Sultan was shivering, you'll think he had been rained on. So we with the remaining mandazis that we are having, we ate and we took coffee, and then I took some bladder and fixed my derailleur that was actually messing. Fixed it properly, make sure it doesn't move. These are problems that you get when sometimes you borrowed a bike. This bike, I had borrowed it, and for the time that I was using it, it didn't give me any problems. But now when I decide to ride to Chavakali, that's when it starts to mess me up. I said, no, you're not doing this to me. I have to get to Chavakali. I made it to I tried it properly and made sure it stays in the bigger chain ring. And we got back on the road. After cycling for some time, we caught up with the MTB guys at past Kikopei as you're passing that place called Kariandusi, going forward there. They had been calling us, wanting to know where we are. We told them, don't worry, we'll catch up with you guys. Yeah, I'm Kombali, atukai sana, tuko tu hapa nyuma yenu. Yeah, just behind here. So we actually caught up with them and we told them, my friend, so that you'll be able to get very well, get to your place in good time, where we are going. Chezeni na ligi yenu. Chezeni ligi yenu. But Dan will say, will not want to hear that they kept with us. But we decided, okay, fine, we'll ride with you. But after Nakuru, itabidi tumewatoka. We go to Nakuru 7:30 and look for a tea base. Because my friend, without tea, those bikes were becoming like torture. By this time, after we took tea, eggs, chapati, basically we finished whatever that lady had cooked in her hotel. We finished, and we were just 5 people. From eggs to chapati to tea, everyone was taking like 3 cups of tea, and by due, we are not cooling the tea. We're just taking it like that, the way it is. And after we had done, I could see Sultan was dozing off. I told him, my friend, ay bwana, wake up. Uliacha kitanda Nairobi, ama urudi Nairobi, ama you ride with us. So we got back on the road, and you see, after Njoro Junction, basically from Nakuru, that's where the real ride starts from. So we got back on our bikes and we started cycling, and as fate will have it, we had to drop the MTB guys up these climbs. By the time we're getting to Salga, we are just road bikes alone. MTB is there behind us. So we worked together, though these guys they had already given me a distance, but I caught up with them towards the at some point there in the middle of Sachangwan climb. You see, Salga is the town before Sachangwan. So by the it is just 15 kilometers and it is not tough. The only thing that can make it tough is the sun. So we finished that by around we got to Mau Summit, it was some minutes past 11. From there we didn't stop because we wanted to do like 100 kilometers. We normally do like 100 kilometers before we stop. From there I wanted to go to Timboroa, but I think at some point Chalo his energy that I started coming back, and he disappeared. We will actually come to catch up with him later in Chavakali, because I think at some point Sultan also started getting affected by the headwinds, because now we were now approaching 250, and it was from Mau Summit to Timboroa, it was up and down, or what we call Padashuka. It's not a joke. We tried our best and we continued like that. By the time we're getting to Timboroa, it is some minutes after 1 p.m. and we had to take lunch there before now again we start to tackle like 120 kilometers that are remaining to our destination. So by this time Chalo was already like 20 kilometers away, and these guys also, the MTB guys, Dan and Sam, they're also like 20 kilometers behind us. So I did have a small problem just before Kapsabet junction. My crank decided to actually twist a bit, so I had to look for something to fix it, a piece of stone to actually lock it, to bring it back in position. And then I told God, please, vile tulibonga, please. And they got back on the road. Trying to chase Sultan, who was now like 5 kilometers away. Got to Kapsabet junction, and then we started to cycle with him. There were a little bit of climbs. Then from those climbs, it was now dropping. There was a place we just dropped. If you are a drop king like Ndege or Rondo or Kenmwangi or Mudomi, those people, if you want to know them, they are masters in dropping. Steve Ndege is retiring from dropping, but these others, they like dropping. So if you brought them there, they will really drop, because after those drops, it's a little bit of a climb, and then it is flat. You just hit the T mode, and you go. So we proceeded like that. At some point, I remember some boda guys were trying to ride behind us and enjoy. They were just fascinated by the fact that there were people who were cycling and they are doing 40 to 50 per hour. There was even another boda guy. He almost forgot where he was going to. Can you imagine that? So after we went to after we got to Kapsabet some minutes after 4 p.m. took some sodas and water. Sultan was complaining his left leg was having was actually misbehaving. I took some deep heat and massaged him. Then he was good to go. So we proceeded, and in fact, the best thing that I like about this is the fact that we were able to actually cycle together. From there, proceeding on, you see, one thing that I like with the terrain from Kapsabet as you went towards Chavakali, it was just Pandashuka, like up and down, but I like the fact that it was if you drop properly, it will give you some momentum to actually do the climb, and then from there you can attack. Then as you shift towards softer gears, you'll be able to finish the climb and then drop again. So you do that like that, the 50 kilometers distance starts to become smaller and smaller. And you see, when you are doing a long ride, I normally start to count the distance that I'm remaining with. It's like the motivation. So I was motivating Sultan, who was now feeling like it was becoming hard. So I was motivating him and telling him, you know what, 40 to go, 30 to go, or 35 to go, 30 to go, 25 to go, till we go to Shamahoho, 10 kilometers away from Chavakali. We stopped, we took a photo, and then we got back on our bikes again. Now for me it was a flat. That's where Steve Dege caught up with us. He had actually drove from Nairobi in company of MK, Duta, and the likes of Christine, and it was nice them chasing us for the little distance that was remaining. We made it to Chavakali at around 6 p.m. and we ended our ride at 360 kilometers, and I was so happy. I wasn't feeling anything in my body because even with the cycling kit that I had worn, it was actually very comfortable. And you see, when you're doing a long ride, I normally recommend that you off-saddle part of it. Don't just cycle while seated on your saddle. Relieve the pressure on your ass by off-saddling from time to time. So as we go to Chavakali, our bikes were taken over by these amazing ladies, and they decided to cycle the 6 kilometers to Jasper's home, where we actually met with the Wendo, and we made it back again to the place where we were actually going to sleep. And it was nice. I know for Sultan it's the second time he's doing 360 kilometers. The first time he did it was when I took him to Namanga with another group for cycling Nairobi, and city riders plus a few members of RDX. We're like 40 men, and it was the toughest ride Sultan had gone, and this was the second one. I'm so proud of how strong this young man is becoming. So we'll be doing this more often. Like, we'll be doing a ride for in memory of Jasper coming next year. It's not going to be the last time you're doing it. We also have my ride for a charity ride coming up this March on 29th, Good Friday, from Nairobi to Mombasa and back, 1,000 kilometers to raise funds for 2 children's home. There is Aswan Children's Home, and then there is Happy Rock Center in Eldoret. So I am counting on your support. This me doing Jasper's ride, it was part of training that I've been doing. And without much ado, I have been your host, Siro here, looking forward to more episodes of Baiskeli stories. Till next time, keep it there, hit that like, subscribe button, and to more and more episodes. Bye bye.